Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this chapter, we will discuss certain other aspects of acquisition valuation. This chapter will increase certain calculation, but we'll also discuss certain questions from your problem or from your exercise. So, first of all, we will discuss it on the slides, and after that, I will be sharing certain questions and their solution and the detailed discussion of those questions. So, starting with the valuation process. Now, the third step in the acquisition process is valuing the target firm with the motive built in. As we have already established and developed our motive, that what is our motive regarding the acquisition, and we have discussed different motives regarding that. For example, if you are motive of undervaluation or diversification, operating or financial synergy, increasing the value after appropriate control processes of the firm, or any other managerial interest. So these are different motives regarding your target firm. After that, once you have identified the motive, the second step is to you have to identify the target firm, that what firms or what companies operating in the market are appropriate for your acquisition, and they can fulfill your motive of whatever you have selected. And then after that, once you have identified the target firm, it's very important for that you should confirm that whether these what you have in mind, and you have identified your motive, whether these firms which you are acquiring or you have selected for acquisition again fulfill your motive, and whether they are their value is worthwhile, which will help you to achieve your objective. So based upon your motive, you have to apply certain valuation principles, and when you value firm, the valuation of the firm of our target is not fundamentally different from any valuation of any other firm. But when it comes to of the valuation of control or operating synergies, there are certain complexities. But it's appropriate that first we should identify, or first we should value firm based upon their status quo valuation procedures, and after that incorporated certain aspects to identify the valuation of control and valuation of different synergies. First of all, we'll be identifying that status quo valuation. And what is status quo valuation? Actually, it is the valuation process in which we estimate and see that what is the value of firm with its existing investing, financing, and dividend policies, and after also the function of its cash flow from existing assets, the expected growth in these cash flows during a high growth period, and the length of the high growth period, and the firm's cost of capital. So we'll be identifying all these things and determining all these things when you are performing the valuation process. So first we'll go through this slide in which there are certain valuation procedure regarding certain motives of your acquisition. So that, for example, if the motive is undervaluation, so what you will do is you will value the target firm as a standalone entity, because your motive is that you want to acquire this undervaluation firm and value firm in order, and earns a value on it by its fair price. Then so you will do no extra premium you will be seeing. Then after that, diversification, value target firm obviously on a standalone entity, and it will be no extra premium. Then operating synergy means that value the target firm independently, then value the combined firm with operating synergy. And synergy is the difference between the later and former. For example, we will see that target firm value is equal to independent value plus synergy. That means that you'll see that whether there is a certain difference or increase or decrease in the value of the firm after the acquisition. Then third one is your financial synergy. So in this case, we'll see that first, if you want to see the tax benefit, so value of the target firm plus present value of all the tax benefits regarding that acquisition. And in case you want to increase your debt capacity, so in this case we'll value a target firm plus increase in value from debt. Then cash stacks, that means value of the target firm plus NPV of all projects or targets. And in case of control, in this case we'll see the value of the target firm run optimally, because in this case we are actually targeting the to increase the value of the firm by applying appropriate managerial and controlling procedures in order to so after applying all these things value the after you want to first of all identify that what is the optimal value of the firm. It appropriate procedure could be applied, and after that manager, if the manager interest is the motive, so we will value the target firm and will not see any additional premium. Now, the first of all, we will discuss the procedure that how we will determine the standalone valuation or status quo valuation of the firm. There is an example of a company, a digital equipment, and in 1997, digital equipment, a leading manufacturer of mainframe computer, was the target of an acquisition bid by Compaq, which at that time was the leading personal computer manufacturer in the world. And the acquisition was partly motivated by the belief that the digital was poorly managed firm and Compaq would be a much better manager of digital assets. In addition, Compaq expected synergy in the form of both cost saving of, for example, economies of scale and high growth from Compaq selling to digital customer. And in order to analyze this accusation, first of all, a status quo analysis has to evaluation analysis has to be performed on digital. At the time of the acquisition, the following characteristics were there for the company. First of all, digital had earning before interest and taxes of 391.38 million in 1997, which translated into a pre-tax operating margin of 3% on its revenue of 13,046 million, and after-tax return on capital of 8.51%, based upon its beta of 1.15, an after-tax cost of borrowing of 5%, and a debt ratio of approximately 10%. The cost of capital for digital in 1997 was, for example, cost of equity is 6%. That is actually a risk-free rate, and this is the rate on your treasury bonds at that time, plus 1.15, that is the beta, and 5.5% is actually the difference between the market portfolio rate minus risk-free rate, that is 5.5%, and the cost of capital is 12.33%. Now, cost of capital, cost of equity is 12.33%. Cost of capital is actually 12.33%, and as we have they have mentioned that the debt ratio was 10%. So obviously 90% was the amount of of the equity being employed in the firm. So 90% would be multiplied by 12.3%, and 10% would be multiplied by 5%. At 5% is your debt cost of debt. So 11.59% is the cost of capital. And thirdly, digital had a capital expenditure of $4.75 million. Depreciation is $461 million, and the working capital was 15% of revenues. Operating income, net capital expenditure, and revenues were expected to grow 6% a year for the next 5 years and 5% thereafter. The capital expenditure are assumed to be 110% of revenues in stable growth. Working capital remains 15%. And debt ratio remains at 10%, but after tax cost of debt drops to 4% and beta declines to 1%. So this is the data. Based upon this data, we'll first perform the status quo analysis evaluation process, and after then we'll be incorporating the valuation for synergies and control. Now, the first step regarding the valuation is that we want to evaluate the digital company, and this is the status quo valuation of the company based upon the data given in the previous slide. First of all, we will determine free cash flows, and after determining the free cash flow, we will determine the present values of these cash flows and actually calculate the total value, and that actually value the total present values of all the periods will give us the firm value, the total firm value for the next five, the total firm value for today. So how we will determine the free cash flow? So the calculation of the free cash flow for the first period is given. We can see that EBIT multiplied by 1 minus tax and multiplied by growth rate. Then there is a net capital expenditure. Net capital expenditure is actually the capital expenditure minus depreciation, and this net capital expenditure would be again will be grow with 6%. Then we have change in working capital, that is actually revenue with growth rate, and working capital as percentage of revenue will multiply with that. So now the EBIT is $391.38 million, and 0.36 is the tax rate. So 1 minus 0.36, we'll multiply it that, then after that we'll grow it by 6%. And 475 is the capital expenditure, and 461 is the depreciation expense, and that will give us a net capital expenditure. So we'll grow it with 6%. Then we'll deduct change in working capital. So we have the revenue of 13,046. We'll grow it by 6%, and we'll take 15% of that, multiply it by 1.5%. So with all these calculation, we'll get 133.26 million. That is the free cash flow for the first period. Once we'll calculate this, so then after that we have to calculate present value of this. That is present value for the first period is 191.42. How we have determined this present value? Present value can be determined by discounting the free cash flow for the period 1. So 133.26 is the free cash flow for the first period. We'll divided by 1.1159, that is 11.59 is the cost of capital. So we'll get 119.42 million. That is our present value for this period. Now the easiest way of knowing the calculation for the next period's free cash flow would be that we'll increase this free cash flow with 6%, because there is 6% increase in all the value of EBIT, net capital expenditure, and change in working capital. So we can easily calculate our free cash flows for the next period by taking 6%, or you can change you can take the value that you can increase the values of all these major components by 6% and calculate the value, and obviously then after that we'll calculate the present values for each period. Okay, another thing which is very important is that the terminal value is computed using the free cash flow to the firm in year number 6, and the new cost of capital after year 5 is 11.50. That is calculated is that new cost of equity after year 5 is 6% plus 1. That is the new beta multiplied by 5.5%. That will give us 11.5%. So this is actually cost of equity, new cost of equity. So a new cost of capital after year 5 is 11.50 multiplied by 90% plus 4% multiplied by 1%, because the debt ratio, the debt percentage is also decreased from 5% to 4%. Now the new cost of capital is 10.75. So the terminal value can be calculated by dividing 156.25 is this is actually cash flow for the 6th period, divided by 1.075 minus 0.05 growth rate is equal to 207.17.35. So that is actually the new terminal, the terminal value of this period. In order to value the firm, and in order to see that if we make certain changes regarding the management and regarding the control, how these changes have enhanced the value of the firm. So in order to do this, we'll make certain assumption. For example, digital will raise its debt capital ratio to 20%, and the beta will increase, but the cost of capital will decrease, as the new beta is equal to 1.25, that is actually unleveraged beta is equal to 1.07, and debt equity ratio is 25%. So cost of equity is 6% plus 1.25 is actually the beta, which was multiplied by 5.5%, and you have the cost of equity of 12.88%. New after tax cost of debt is equal to 5.25, and cost of capital is equal to as we have 12.88% cost of equity, and 80% is your portion of equity. So we will multiply it with that, and plus 5.25% is your debt ratio, sorry, debt cost of debt, and 20% is your portion of debt in your capital structure. So multiply it with that, and we will get 11.35% cost of capital. Additionally, digital will raise its return on capital to 11.35%, which is its cost of capital, and pre-tax operating margin will go up to 4%. And the reinvestment rate remains unchanged, but the increase in the return on capital will increase the expected growth rate in the next 5 years to 10%. And after the year 5, the beta will drop to 1, and the after tax cost of debt will decline to 4%. So based upon all these assumptions, we will be determining the value of digital after making these changes, which actually enhance, we'll actually see that whether all these changes have enhanced the value of the digital or not. Now, in order to calculate the value of digital company, and this valuation is based on change in control, as we have to see that after making certain assumption, after making certain changes, like for example, they have changed from debt ratio from 10% to 20%. They have also increased the growth rate and also increased the operating capital as well. So these are the certain changes they have made, and based upon these changes, they want to determine that value, whether these all changes have made any significant increase in the value of the company. For example, if we look into the free cash flows, so over here in the previous case, when we were case, the EBIT was 391 million, and but in this case it is 521, as because in the previous case it was 3% of your revenues, but in this case it is 4% of your revenues, and revenues are actually $13,046 million, and 4% of this revenue is 521.80. And now making the calculation, as they have increased the growth rate from 6% to 10% as well. So making these all the calculations, we have the free cash flow for the first period is 156.29 million. And now first we have to calculate the free cash flows, and after that the present values of these free cash flows, and taking the cost of capital. Taking the cost of capital, we will actually determine the we will take it as a discount rate, and based upon that we will calculate the present value for this question. And the cost of capital is 13.35, and based upon that we'll calculate free cash flows and present values. Now look at the terminal value, that is actually 65.8.62. In order to calculate the terminal value, first of all we have to determine the new cost of capital, because the cost of capital in this case they are saying that their debt rate, the debt percentage has changed from changed to 4%. Previously it was 5%. So in order to calculate that, it was actually 5.25%. Now it is changed to 4%. Now, in order to make the adjustment, we will first determine the new cost of equity, because your beta have also changed to 1%. So now the new cost of equity is 11.5%, and new cost of capital is 10%. And terminal value is calculated, is we'll take the free cash flow of the year number 6, that is 329.23, and divided by your new cost of capital minus your growth rate, we'll get 6,584.62. Now the summing up the all the present value of all the free cash flows, we'll get the value of the firm is as 4,531, whereas the value of the firm when it was status quo was 2,110 million. So it significantly shows that your value of the firm has been increased from 2,110 million to 4,531 million. So this shows that there is a value of control. If we take necessary step, and we will increase certain aspects or decrease certain things, like it will definitely have impact. Also the control or management changes have a significant impact. So we can pursue with this acquisition.